of the stuff I was bringing down, so we're going to quickly go through it. Hey, if they listen or don't listen, you remove yourself from the outcome. It's okay. We're just trying to help. But then on the back page of an F&A, there's a summary sheet. I know a lot of people, I'm going to be positive. It's not just about life insurance and rollover money. It's about doing a complete job for your client. And I'm a doctor because I write really bad. But I knew she didn't have a budget. By the way, the budget thing never got fixed. I tried as much. She always spent more than they made. They had a home. We worked on getting a refi where they had a 15-year mortgage. I opened up a $250,000 insurance policy for her. If something happens, who's going to take care of your husband? And in 15 years, that was going to be completely paid off. So they had to work for about 15 years. She was still in her early 50s. No, she was in like late 40s. We talked about mutual funds and never got there. See, check marks. There was a rollover we did with ING. They didn't have a trust and stuff in place, and she needed medical insurance. It's funny, I had Carol in my office a couple days ago. She didn't know who the client was. I had stuff out working on it. She was the one that she was shocked. She couldn't live with it. She had passed away. We don't know who's going to pass away.
Right.
You just never know. We do a good job. We follow up. We follow through. Just thought I'd bring it up. I was not an S&D. I love S&D contracts. I have no idea what the spread override was. All I know is I pulled it up that I didn't even know. I did the life insurance and I did the rollover, $7,000, not as an S&D. So you can make money here. You don't have to be an S&D to make a bunch of money. I think that's decent for probably 7 hours of work total.
Yes.
$1,000 an hour. Am I good for that?
Yeah.
All right. She passed away. December 20th, actually passed away December 14th. Doesn't have a little arrow thing. When she passed away, she told her family, because the family asked, do you have life insurance? She said she let it go. She let it, she goes, I haven't paid on that for a while. It was the person who referred me that called me and said, she's in the hospital, they're going to probably be pulling the plug. I'm like, what? Like I didn't know.
Yeah.
I called Transamerica, to the Transamerica policy. The last time she made payment was October 25th, 2016. She had it for, if you notice the date before, we put this in place in 2013. She paid on it for 3 years. She stopped paying for 2 years. Guess what? It was still in force. Properly structured policy. That's not what I had this time. All right. So I double checked, triple checked, went and met the family at the hospital. They pulled the plug at 1 o'clock. I got there about 2:15. Family's down in the parking lot, kind of grieving and talking about stuff. I met the daughter, and she said, I know who you are. And I said, yeah, I was your mom's and dad's financial advisor, and I'm just here to give my condolences. And I said, you understand she had a life insurance policy? And that can be positive, had or still has, we had a life insurance policy. I was saying it pretty innocent. She goes, yeah, I know, my mom said she let it go. And I'm like, well, I'm here to let you know that it's still in force. And now there was some tears going on, but then she still wasn't getting it. She still wasn't getting it, because she was like, well, that's good, final expense and things like that is taken care of. And I go, you don't understand. I said, it's $250,000. It's $250,000. Nothing brings the person back. But all the things she was thinking about she had to deal with was completely lifted and gone. Completely lifted and gone. I don't want to be the agent that says, well, I didn't structure it properly and your policy lapsed. It's important to learn how this stuff works. That's a whole other fast start school in the lower law. I'm going to do one on a Sunday for Beverly Hills because you guys are the biggest motivators, mobilizers for the event. We're going to do something. We'll have to do on a Sunday, but we're going to make it happen. She passed away. What else do I got? Is that my last slide? Okay, Mom. Hold on, one more thing. She passed away of liver cancer. Jello shots at the party. I was invited. That was good. Get a buzz on those things. You pick it up. There's a lot of flavors. Hey, we're doing a cancer walk, not just for her. Both my parents passed with cancer. I heard a lot of C stories today. If you have anybody who's passed with cancer that you want to participate in this walk, I know I got some people that are already participating. This is not a WG thing, this is a life thing. So I am hosting, we're doing a walk here on whatever day it is, August 3rd, right before convention. It's 24 hours. 24 hours. have a lot of fun, and here's what they said. They came in, and Jim Maloney's helped with us too. It's really competitive, and all these teams want to raise a lot of money, and it's just really hard to win. But I know if everybody who joined the team, and we all found one person to $100, we'd probably beat them. We can beat them in numbers. So if you're interested, I'm going to send out the link. This is not my team, your team, any team. This is about supporting families and stories like this. And God bless you guys. Have a great day.
All right, great stuff, yes? Yes. Was that great stuff? Yeah. Oh yeah, all right. Without further ado, because we are going to keep this party moving, I am super excited to bring up my mentor, me and Tate's personal mentor, everybody's mentor, the chief of this whole synergy hierarchy. He's amazing, and if you don't know him, buckle in, kids, because you're about to go on a ride, right? Remember the roller coaster? We go fast in here, right? So, without further ado, I want to bring up Mr. Dan Charlier!
How you guys doing? You guys doing well? Yeah. So many great stories, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, like, this isn't Noel. This isn't Noel. I just came back from Pomona. That packed out there. They're so excited, and was looking forward to coming over here. And there's so many great stories. You know, prospecting is so much fun. I mean, there's so many great stories that come from prospecting. And sometimes we forget the little things that make such a big difference. I'll give you an example. So years ago, I believe I was in my office in Ontario. Schleman and I had an office in Ontario, 10,000 square foot office. And you know, we're talking about prospecting and recruiting and all this stuff. That was always the crusade. You know, you shoot for a recruit and you miss with the sale, right?
Right.
So I prospected this guy. His name was Sean, right? Sean Harper, prospected him, recruited him into the business. And do you remember Sean Harper? And so we were training one day. We used to teach exactly how to recruit, like the art of recruiting. There's an art to it, right? And then so in every environment, there's a hunter, right? And there's someone that's being hunted. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right? So I taught this whole thing about how if you're feeling like you're being hunted, how to turn from being hunted to the hunter. You guys follow me on that? You guys get that?
Yes.
I'm sure there's some military guys. I'm sure all the military guys get what I'm saying. All military women, right? So I taught this whole class. So this guy, Sean, he's going to a cigar lounge on Chapman. At the time I lived in Orange, right? And he goes into the cigar lounge. They sees this guy. They start talking. The guy goes, "What do you do? What do you do?" He said, "Man, I just got started with a company. I'm really excited about it." And he said, "Well, what's the name of the company?" He said, "The company by the name of World Financial Group." He goes, "World Financial Group?" He says, "You're doing that?" And he goes, "Yeah." And the guy goes, "Well, I've been in insurance for 13 years, making a ton of money in it. And I understand insurance, and you should have nothing to do with World Financial Group. They don't know what they're doing, blah, 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 blah." And then so the guy starts telling him that, and I just taught a class on the difference between the hunter and the hunted. So Sean says to him, "Wow, that sounds great." He says, "Let me ask you a question." He said, "You know, I just got started, I'm brand new. The guy that recruited me is very sharp. He has several thousand licensed agents. Can I schedule an appointment for you to sit down with him, right? Because if you can sit down with him and explain to him how World Financial Group is not a good company, he'll bring his whole team and me over to your company." And then he goes, and the guy goes, "Yeah, of course, set up the appointment," right? So says, I met this guy. He said this about World Financial Group. I booked an appointment. I said, okay, great, right? So we had an appointment. So we had this appointment in South Coast Plaza at this restaurant, right? I forgot what the name of the restaurant was. It was a steakhouse, Morton Steakhouse, right? So that day, I have 8 appointments that day. That was one of 8 appointments, right? So we get to Morton Steakhouse. So my new recruit, Sean, is sitting there. And this other guy from the industry, really sharp guy, right? He's making high 6 figures. He's making like close to $600,000-$700,000 a year. And we sit down, and we start talking, and the first words out of his mouth, he goes, you seem to be a really sharp guy. Why would you be in WFG? And I started laughing, right? I started laughing. I said, look, I could see we have a couple of things in common, right? I said, you like cigars, I like cigars, we're at a good restaurant. I could see that you love what you do. And there's nothing that I'm going to say to you that's going to get you to change your mind about what you do. And for me, I love what I do. There's nothing that you're going to say to me that's going to change my mind about what we do. But here's what I can see. We're in a great environment. We both love cigars. Let's just sit here and have a good time, right? And then he goes, okay. So we start talking. I said, man, how did you get into the industry? What did you do before you got into the industry? And he said, oh, I was in the military. I said, well, which branch? He says, I was in the Marines. I go, no way. I was like, dude, you're not going to believe this. I was in the Marines too. He goes, are you serious? I said, yeah. And then so we started talking, and what I saw when I was talking to him, I said, wow, this is a really sharp guy. He's playing at a very high level. I'm not in a cult where everyone I know needs to be doing what I'm doing. Does that make sense? I'm very comfortable with what we're doing, right? So after we were done, I said to him, I said, hey, let's exchange numbers, and let's you and I stay in contact. And we both love cigars. Let's get together, smoke a cigar every now and then, and all this stuff. So we become friends, right? So one night, he was running about maybe 25, 30 appointments a week, right? And I'm running about 30, 40 appointments a week. And we would meet once a week for a cigar right down here in Corona at the cigar lounge. So one night he calls me. He goes, hey, D, where you at, man? I said, I'm over here. He said, when you finish your appointment, let's meet at the cigar lounge. And so we meet, and he goes, hey, how many apps you do this week? I said, man, I did 9. He said, how many apps you do? I said, 8. And he says, man, he goes, you know what, Dan? And I think we had a scotch, and we were smoking a cigar, and he said, you know what, Dan? He goes, problem with you guys in WFG, you guys don't understand product. You got, and I said, Sean, I said, look, didn't we agree we're not going to have this conversation? And he's like, yeah, but you know, you guys don't know your stuff. I said, Sean, look, if you and I ever got across the kitchen table at an agent confrontation, I would eat your lunch. He goes, what? He said, show me your kitchen table. I was like, show me your kitchen table. It's like, what? You guys don't know what you... I said, okay, I'm going to show you my kitchen table. School's in session. You ready? Right? So I start going, like the first couple of minutes, he goes, stop. He runs outside, right? And he comes back, and back then you didn't have the thing on the phone. He has remember the little tape recorder with the little cassette? So he pressed record, and he goes, go. And he goes, he looks at it, he grabs his recorder, and he runs out, and he said, I'll see you tomorrow, right? So the next day I called him, I was like, dude, why you left so quick? He said, bro, I showed him the 3 tax boxes, right, in the IUL. He had never seen that before. So he literally recorded it, practiced it that night, had an emergency meeting with his team, and he became the #1 producer in his general agency. And so when he spoke on stage, they were like, how you doing all this premium? He's like, well, there's that company, that multi-level marketing company, one of my buddies is there, he showed me that, and so he made all this money, right? So him and I were always good friends. And so one day I said to him, I said, Sean, I said, look, man, you're great at sales, bro. You can sell all day long. I said, but there will come a day where you're not going to want to run 30, 40 appointments a week. I said, what's going to happen 10 years from now, 15 years from now, where you don't want to run 30, 40 appointments a week, you don't have the ability to build a team. I said, you don't understand recruiting. You don't really have good people skills. We both know that. I said, but you and I are friends. I said, I'll help you build a team, right? But we got to be on the same team. He's like, man, no, there's no way I would never do WFG, blah, 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 blah. I said, okay, no problem, right? And so a couple months later, he came over to my house, and I saw him limping, leaving my house. I said, Sean, what the hell are you limping for? And he goes, because he was kind of walking like a duck, and I was like, what are you limping for? And he said, well, I've been diagnosed with MS. I said, you've been diagnosed with MS? I said, dude, how come you never told me that? He's like, well, you know, blah, 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 and all this stuff. So I said, dude, we got to build you a team, right? And so he comes to my house. I was living in Corolla. He comes to my house, and he says to me, Dan, I want to talk to you. And I said, what's up? And he says to me, hey, remember you've been talking to me about building this team? And I said, yes. He said, you know, I'm ready to do it. I go, no way. You ready to put on the WFG jersey? And he's like, yeah, right? So he gets started with me, right? So I recruit him into the base shop, and he comes up with this plan. He says, you know what, Dan? I know all the big producers, the people that run annuities and all this. I said, Sean, stop. I said, bro, how long have I known you? He's like 2 years. I said, Sean, it took you 2 years to make a decision to get started. Those are not the people we want to go see, right? I said, look, here's what we're looking for. We're looking for a married couple that has a home, that has some kids, that has got an income, they got a business, they're good people, they got great market, and they got credibility in that market, right? And he's like, shit, I don't know anybody like that. And so I said, Sean, look, you know someone like that, and when you see that person, you'll know. Trust me on that, right? So he calls me a couple hours later, he goes, man, you're not going to believe this. I said, yeah, I'm going to believe it. He said, I walked into the cigar lounge, and I saw this guy that I've known all the time, and I started thinking about it. He said, well, he's married. Yeah, he's got a house. He's got they got a businthis. They make money. They got credibility, all this stuff. He said, so I booked an appointment, right? So he books it. He calls me. I'm come pick you up, all this stuff, right? So we go on the appointment, right? And he has a sales mindset, and I've got a crusader mindset, right? I'm thinking about recruiting all the time. He's thinking about selling. So we come actually here to Canyon Lake. So we pull up to the gate, boom, 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 all this stuff. And guess whose house we pull up to? Peter and Jane, right? So Peter comes out, and I walk in. Peter's got a big cigar room in his house, and I'm like, oh man, I love this, right? So we stand up, sit down, talking, and I'm talking to Peter. Jane comes down, and we're talking and all this stuff. So we spend a couple of hours, and then we leave, and I get in the car with Sean, and Sean goes, hey man, you didn't sell them a policy. I said, Sean, you and I are two totally different businesses. And I said, you're thinking about selling, I'm thinking about recruiting and building. That's two totally different things. And he goes, I don't get it, man, I don't get it, right? So eventually I recruit Peter and Jane, right? And we start to build a team, right? And Sean quit. Right, he quit. So Peter and Jane's team, the entire Miracle Miles team, was the team that I told them that I was going to build. Wow. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Right? Now there's something called a quitter's effort. Does that make sense? See, one of the things I can guarantee you with every leader here, what they have the ability to do, if you look at Christopher Schleman, if you look at Louise Haig and Steve Haig and Natalie and Ryan Plant, these are mentally tough individuals that have had many setbacks. They've been knocked down many times, but every time they've been knocked down, they get back up, right? So I want to show you a couple of things. I want to show you, if you look at me right there, you look at Louise right there, and look at Natalie and Ryan Plant. Did you guys know when Ryan and Natalie first started? I guess you guys were what, 21 years old? 20 years old. I used to have Brian show up in the office at 8:30 so I can inspect them before they start. Crazy, right? But you look at the story, like Louise, you look at Louise Haig right there. Louise Haig, like how many of you ever seen the Beverly Hills Housewives? Seen that? Or Orange County Housewives? When Louise showed up, it was like you recruited someone in your base shop that was from the Orange County Housewives, and you were like, there's no way she's gonna fit in here. There's no way. But then 20 years later, she's got one of the biggest hierarchies. She's got one of the biggest hierarchies here, right? And then you look at this right here. Look at Slayman. Oh my God. Slayman still looks the same, man. Slayman and Michelle, right? Slayman and Michelle, corporate America, right? Slayman was already making a six-figure income. Michelle used to work for Slayman. Can you imagine that? Yeah. And I remember being in Pomona. All of us were together in Pomona, right? And I remember Slayman, right, he was about to quit to go full time. And I remember Slayman coming up to me, he goes, hey man, I'm here to quit my job to come full time. And I was like, man, that's awesome, man, go for it, and all this stuff, right? All the conversation that we've had. And then I remember him just being scared of taking that jump. And then actually when he did it, you know, he was just like, man, I can't believe I used to have a job, right? And they built one of the biggest hierarchies in Synergy Financial, right? Look at Steve. This is amazing. Look at him right here. Look at Jay and Ronnie. Jay, you know, I was talking about Jay and Ronnie earlier. Jay, I want you to imagine this, right? So we're in the office in Chino. And I'm going to BPM that night. I parked my car. I think I had a white Bentley at the time, right? So I come out, I'm all dressed up, and I'm looking, and I see this guy walking towards me. He's got a tank top on. He's tatted up, right? He's got earrings all over the place, right? And shorts on, and some Chucks. Who the hell is this? Right? So I look at him and say, hey, whoa, stop. I said, where are you going? He's like, oh, I've been invited to a meeting. A meeting? You ain't going to my meeting looking like that. Right? And then, you know, you guys have South people. Well, someone invited me. I'm uninvited you. I said to him, but I can't take the opportunity away from you. I said, but you clean up, take all that stuff out, get a shirt and tie, and go. He said, well, I don't have a shirt and tie. I said, that's your problem, not mine. Figure it out, right? So back up. Now, Jay and Ronnie, I don't know if you guys know this, but they're number one SMD in the entire company right now. Yeah. And for convention, they're looking at getting the SMD MVP for the entire company. Right? Different people from walks of life, different backgrounds. But do you think it was easy for Jay and Ronnie? I mean, do you think it was easy for Steve Haig? Do you think it was easy for Christopher and Michelle? I mean, they've all had challenges, up and downs, and some of it is sometimes it's not money, sometimes it's health challenges, personal challenges, or whatever the case may be. But here's what I will tell you. It's totally worth it. See, one of the things that I want to challenge you with is that anything you do that's worthwhile is going to challenge you, and you're going to second guess yourself 1,001 times, right? Remember one thing. I was watching a biography the other day, right? And it was Winston Churchill. It was like the darkest hour, right? And he was at that moment where he was second guessing himself, right? And he was like, oh my God, are we making the right decision? Should we try to do a peace treaty with the Germans and all of this stuff, right? And in his darkest moment, and his wife comes over to him, his wife says to him, you know why you're so wise? Because you have doubts. He says, you know why you're so strong? You're strong because of your imperfections. And I thought about that, right? Because a lot of times what we're doing is we're second guessing everything we're doing. But we're in a perfect storm right now, right? So you take a look at it, right? Take a look at our industry. We talked about this before. Our industry's been around since 1760, measured in trillion, commissions of 10 of billions annually, does well in good times and bad times, product quality, market needs, traditional distribution of family has declined, right? We made a case for that. You take a look at WFG, the new era of WFG, right? You take a look at business ownership, excellent high quality field training, high skilled professionals, access to well-known product, excellent earning potential, an energetic and positive environment. A lot of times we underestimate how powerful our environment is. You know one of the reasons our environment is so powerful? Our environment is powerful because we have a win-win environment, which a lot of businesses don't have that kind of culture, because your success is the threat to someone else, right? I want you to think about this. Your leaders have they have a vested financial interest to help you succeed. And that's unbelievable. Do you know in other businesses that doesn't happen, right? The culture there doesn't even exist. I want you to try this out, right? Because some of you have jobs, you're still working, that's okay, right? But you should have a game plan at some point to fire your boss, right? But I want you to do this just for giggles, right? Monday morning, when you go to work, you just came out from fast off school, you're feeling yourself, you're pumped up, you're positive, all this stuff. I want you to find your boss, right? So right where the cooler machine is, you see your boss, you size him up, and you go, hey! Jumps up, turns around, say, hey, I need you to sit down with me and show me exactly how I can make $250,000 in the next 12 months. And watch what happens. Your boss will turn around and go, are you okay? I don't even make $250,000. What makes you think you'll ever make $250,000 a year? Right? So you look at that, right? Excellent, exciting growth potential. You have mentoring from top leadership, people that have done it, that's willing to do it. So you're at the right time, the right place, right? With the right mission, the right system, and the right team, right? We're the new era in the industry. So I want you to take a look at a couple things, right? When we say new era, there's a lot of things that change in our platform, right? So you look at social media artists, social media statistics. As of January 2019, total worldwide population is 7.7 billion online. The internet has 4.2 billion users. On average, people have 5.5 social media accounts. The average daily time spent on social media is 160 minutes a day. Social media users grew by 320 million between 2017 and 2018. Right? So you look at Instagram, for example. You know what the new business card is? The old business card was, hey, let me give you my business card. Your new business card, when you're prospecting someone, when you're saying, hey, let me get your number, what you should be doing, and I'm encouraging you, is find out what their Instagram account is. You know, most people now, when I meet them, I want to know what their Instagram is. Automatically, I go on their Instagram, I can scroll through their Instagram, see how many followers they have, see how influential they are, and I can know everything just watching their Instagram. Let me ask you a question. If I looked at your Instagram profile right now, what would I see? Because your Instagram profile, right, provide me enough information about you where I can build credibility with you really quick, right? Roughly half of users are between the age of 18 to 34. Now, you might be sitting here going, I don't have an Instagram account. I just don't believe in that, blah, 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 right? Okay, keep thinking that. It's a new era, and you might have an old way of thinking. You ever seen the 60-year-old guy at the club still doing the same old two-step? That was relevant back in the 70s and the 80s, right? Make sure that's not you. 74% of businesses, listen to this, you guys, 74% of businesses worldwide uses Instagram. Do you guys know how many people? I just had this couple that quit, right? Well, they quit years ago. She called me back, and this was just the other day. She called me and she says, hey Dan, I'm in your area. I want to know if I can meet with you. And I said, yeah. I said, what do you want to meet about? She said, I want to meet about getting back in the company. She was really excited about the company. So I'm sitting there with her at the club, and we're going over. I said, let me ask you a question. What sparked your interest? What sparked your interest by getting back to WFG? She said, well, Dan, you're not going to believe this. My husband never supported me, right? But he's been on Instagram, and he's been watching Ed Mylett on Instagram. And he said to me one day, he said, well, wait a minute, that company you were with, that guy you were with, wasn't he working with this guy? He goes, yeah. And he goes, babe, why aren't you doing this business, right? Her husband pushed her back because of the influence he saw on Instagram. You know how many people in your market right now, they see all this stuff, but they don't connect you to it. Follow me on that, right? 60% of Instagram users claim that they discovered at least one product on the platform. Look at this. How many people use Instagram, right? 2017, 28.3% of the population. 2018, 31.8% of the population, right? Look at this, Facebook. In the United States, 169 million people use Facebook. 95% of businesses worldwide use Facebook. Right? After messaging a brand on Facebook, 66% of people feel more confident about the brand. Right? So you have to harness the social media platforms. Now, when you're fast starting a new recruit, you guys, not only get the top 100, the top 25, you should be tapping into their Instagram, tapping into their Facebook. That's a slam dunk, right? You got to get fired up at that. Using social media. Actively post valuable information, resources, tips, invitations, serve community. Be transparent and let them know why you like to connect with them online. Build relationships. Join the groups and discussion where your target market is engaging with it. Blogs are quickly becoming blah, 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 right? This is the first time in modern history that there are 5 generations working side by side, right? You guys, this is a whole different era, right? Now you look at that, recruiting the next generation. Generation Xers has around 44 to 50 million Americans who were born between 65 and 80. Generation X leaders now hold more than 51% of leadership globally. Generation Xers are better entrepreneurs than millennials. Approximately 55% of millennials and 47% of Generation Z reported that the hiring process is way too long, right? Each generation is looking for purpose, meaning behind their work. Each generation, what they all have in common, they want to have something that they're doing that has purpose, that has a crusade. And you might be sitting here thinking, well, I don't have anybody to see. Do you realize how that's like dum-dum, right? There's tons, everybody you know is looking for this opportunity, right? Millennials look for flexible schedule. I got a buddy, check this out, right? I got a buddy that he runs one of the top accounting firms in Beverly Hills, right? 2 years ago, he had 110 people working for him in his accounting firm. 2 years later, he has 320, right? So we're smoking a cigar the other day. He said, Dan, you're not going to believe this new generation. He says, dude, my average accountant, like out of school, he said, I'm paying them 6 figures. I can't get them to stay. I said, well, why won't they stay? He's like, they don't want to work. Right? And I said to him, I said, look, the millennials are smarter. They don't want to be, they don't believe in the 9 to 5. They want to have their time. They don't want to have a boss. They all this stuff, right? So they're looking for flexibility. Flexibility. The new era, consistently building top 25 improvement system methods and utilize tools, right? Let me ask you a question. What's your presence in your community? What's your presence in your community? Does everyone know what it is that you do? Right? Are you working your community to have some presence in your community? Right? Look at this right here. If you look at Magic Johnson, right? 5 times NBA champion, 3 times NBA final MVP, 3 times NBA most valuable player, 12 times NBA All-Star, 2 times NBA All-Star game MVP. In his era, his average annual salary was $1 million. In his era, right? Look at LeBron. 3 times NBA champion, 3 times NBA finalist, 4 times, 15 times NBA All-Star, 8 times NBA. Average annual salary in his era, 38 million. 38 million. He's already a billionaire. Right? So when we talk about a new era, see the old WFG, that was an old model. See what Christopher and I came through, it's an old model. There's a new era now, and you guys are part of that new era, but you have to seize the moment. You can't be thinking about it with an old mindset, right? Which is pretty interesting. Now you take a look at this, right? You look at the wealthiest 1%. Let's say you decide, you know what, I want to be in the top 1%. I don't want to be average, I don't want to be ordinary. The old way of thinking was, hey, I'm going to go to school and be a doctor, and be a lawyer and all that stuff, right? 10%. Only 10% of doctors and lawyers. Most doctors and lawyers are not doing well financially, right? 10% of, hey, I want to be CEO of BS company. Well, 10%, right? 10% of CEOs and presidents, right? Hey, I want to be a salesperson. 5% a salesperson, right? Hey, I'm going to win the lottery, right? 1% is lottery inheritance, right? Look at this. When I say you're at the right place at the right time, you guys, 74% of business owners and real estate investors. 74%. You follow me on that? Yeah. Now, I want you to think about it. Well, what if you want to become a business owner? Start to take a look at what are the options of becoming a business owner. Because some of us, a lot of times we're here, we go, I don't really know if this is for me. Let's assume it's not for you. What the hell are you going to do? Because at some point, especially for me now, I don't want to talk people into something. It takes too much energy. I'm looking for motivated people, right, that want to win. I told someone the other day, I was talking to someone the other day, I was recruiting them. I was re-recruiting them in WFG. And I said to them, I would never work with you. Because because first of all, you're high maintenance and you're low performance. I'm not looking for high maintenance, low performance relationships. I'm looking for low maintenance, high performance relationships. I want someone that's already motivated, right? That's looking for the opportunity. I said, the only exchange that I'll do with you is you give me 150%. I give you back 100%. Because I know how great an opportunity is. See, once you understand this, you guys, the first person you have, why am I showing you guys this? The reason I'm showing you guys this is because it raises your conviction about the opportunity. You follow me? It raises your conviction about what we do for families across the state. It raises your conviction. Look at 74% of business owners. So you think the wealthiest, the top 1%, you think I'm going to let the 98% of the population influence me on what I'm doing? Of course not, right? New era growing top 1%. Look at this, Synergy Financial. We have 59 six-figure earners. That's with the old model, right? $16.25 million earners, $7.5 million earners, $1 million earners. WFG has $2,400 $100,000 earners, 689 $250,000 earners, 210 $500,000, $78 million earners. And you're still allowing your friends and family to go, hey, is this one of these things? Yeah, it is one of these things that make you rich. I don't have anyone to recruit. We recruited 164,000 people as a company last month. And you're sitting in your little queue. I don't have anybody to recruit. Really? Right? Synergy, our team, we did 5,000 recruits, right? WFG paid, you're sitting there going, I'm not making any money. WFG paid $728 million to the field force. How did you figure out not to make anything? This is the craziest thing to me. Right? And some of you are walking around, yeah, I'm broke, and then I'm broke too, and it's all broke, oh, we all broke, maybe it's WFG. No! WFG paid out our team $20 million, $20 million, right? So let's say you change your mindset. You know what? This is my shot. This is my shot at the big time. Right? See, here's the old way of thinking. Remember when 100 grand was a lot of money? Yeah. And people were like, I make a six-figure income. And you were like, wow, they make a six-figure income. Wow, Remember that? Right? Some of you still do that, right? Right? You're like, I gotta get my ring, right? The ring is the thing, unless it's a blue one. Does that make sense? But some of it, hey, you gotta get the blue, right? You gotta get the watch, you gotta get the blue, and all this stuff, right? $100,000 was a lot of money, you know, years ago, 15, 20 years ago. Do you realize, you guys, you can't even get a property in the hood. I'm talking about the hood. But unless you're spending $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, and that's in the hood, right? Now, so let's say, okay. Well, some of us will say, yeah, $100,000 is not a lot, but you don't make $100,000. Okay, so you don't have the right to even talk about it. Does that make sense? But having said that, I want you to think about this. I want to think about this. 93%, the IRS put out a publication, 93% of the population makes less than $100,000. So $100,000 is not a big deal. 93% of the population makes less than $100,000. You understand that? When somebody said, well, what is it? Who cares what it is? I said, if I pay you $10,000 a month to shovel crap in my backyard, would you do it? Oh yeah. Then what the hell? You shovel crap for $10,000. You follow me on that? That's a dumb question, right? Now, you know how people used to look at $100,000 as a big deal, right? And what they used to, the old way of thinking was, I'm going to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week. I'm going to save 8, 9, 10, I'm going to do my budget. I'm going to save 8, 9, 10% of my income, blah, 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 all this stuff. And I'm going to map that out for 30 years. And one day, I'm going to have, you know, $1.5 million, and I'll be able to retire in my golden years. That's what the Generation Xers used to say. The baby boomers used to say, right? The Census Bureau put out a report and said, hey, let's give you some stats on that stat. 73.8% of the population retires in poverty with less than $833 a month. $833 a month. So how did that concept work? Didn't work, right? So the millennials and Generation Xers, they were like, hey, you know, we've heard all this talk, but we've seen how our moms and dads have struggled and all this stuff. They go, hey, I respect my mom and dad, but that crap doesn't work because I've seen what stressed them out behind closed doors. They go, hey, we ain't buying that. We're not buying that crap. So the millennials got smarter. The millennials go, wait a minute, you mean to tell me you want to give me a job, you're going to stick me somewhere 50, 60 hours a week, you're going to pay me what you think that I deserve, and you're going to control my, they go, nope. You know what they figured out? They said the millennial, what's great about the millennials and Generation Xers, they're thinkers. They question certain things. They don't just buy everything you say. Like baby boomers, like in my era of growing up, if I asked my mom why, that was a form of disrespect. How many of us can relate to that? Why? Because I told you so. Right? And you ran. And then I went from there, I went in the military. That was even worse. I remember me being a drill instructor, and I'm telling you recruit to do something. He goes, why, sir? Why? Push-ups, right? So we've been ingrained not to ask why. We've been ingrained not to ask why. The millennials go, well, wait a minute. If I want to have $1 million, I just have to understand the power of leverage. I just have to understand the power of leverage. So if you understand leverage, right, you go, hey, what about if I want to make $1 million, right? It's great that you know how to help families, right? But what about if you could build a team? You go out, you write 5 apps a month. You go out and you help 20 people. I told a guy the other day, he was talking a whole bunch of noise, right? And I said, hey man, save the boss talk. Everybody can save the boss talk. Everybody knows what to say. There's enough motivation people out there, all this stuff. Everybody all knows. Can you give someone an opportunity? Yes or no?
Yes.
Not you, I'm talking about. I said, can you give someone an opportunity?
Oh, yeah.
Can you give them a platform? Can you give him or her an environment for them to win? He said, no. I said, then save your talk. It's just talk. Right? But here, you can give someone an opportunity. The person that parks your car, say, hey, if I can show you how to make an extra $2,000 to $3,000 on a part-time basis, is there any logical reason why you wouldn't get started with it? When they tell you no, you guys, when they tell you no, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Sophia started prospecting, right? So she's been going to meetings, so she's all excited. So she's like, I'm going to prospect everybody, right? She's like, babe, everybody gave me their number. Everyone else. So 15 associate sales, 20 training associate sales, right? Monthly income is $77,000. Monthly quarterly bonus $10,000. You're at $87,000 a month. You're at $87,000. Right? You're at $87,000. $87,000 a month. That pays you $1 million a year. Right? You said, well, Dan, how long would it take me to do that? Who cares? Who cares? Now, I want you to think about this. I want you to think about this. Oh, yeah, I want you to think about this, right? There's two stories. You see how I began it before, and then now in their journey. It's not an after story yet for Natalie and Ryan. It's not an after story yet for Schleiman. It's not an after story for their stories. They're constantly recreating their authors of their books. They're constantly rewriting different books, right? I want you to think about this, right? Because we all have dream stealers around us. And usually, you get around your dream stealers in your weak moments. Your dream stealers don't want to be around you at your high moments. They want to be around you. They want to be around you when you get that blow. They be like, I told you so. Right? They want to be around you, right? So 1998, and I'm in doubt, and I'm like, man, should I do this? Is this for me? Can I really do it? You know, my mentor's a great speaker. You get around Ed, it's like drinking a triple espresso, right? You're like, you're ready to run through the wall, right? And then you get around regular people, they're like, well, you know, blah, 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 blah. So, you know, I'm like, can I really do this? Can a guy like me really do it? Right? And I remember in one of these meetings, and I heard somebody say, look at the people that's been doing what you're doing for 10, 15, 20 years, and ask yourself, is that where you want to be 20 years from now? If the answer is no, you just need to know you're looking at your future. Right? So I'm 13 years in the military, and I'm just like, man, I got 13 years in. I love the military. I live on base. I got medical, dental, blah, 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 all this stuff. I'm 7 years away from getting retirement and all this stuff. And my left, this little crazy short guy's like, yo, man, you got to get out. We're going to do this. We're going to change the world. And I'm like, we all, we got to get you. He gets me all fired up, right? And I go back to my job, and I'm sharing the excitement of what I'm feeling in here. And at my job, they're like, woo, pump the brakes. You're drinking that Kool-Aid, bro. He said, they got you brainwashed. They can do this, they got to do it, boom, all this stuff, right? Any of us ever had those kind of conversations? Right? And what was similar to everyone here, we were in the same place. We're all broke. We're all struggling. We're all living payday to payday. We all had a pessimistic mindset, right? And then I said to myself, oh, man, it's comfortable staying here. This is a war zone right here. This is like, I'm not familiar with this, right? So let me share something. What if I would have took that route? What if I would have took that route? 2 years ago, 2017, would have been my 30th year in the military. Out of 30 years, I know how to do it. I would have been in my comfort zone. I would have retired 2 years ago. If you Google, if you pull up military pay chart, right? E9, which is a sergeant major, with 30 years in, I would have made $7,500 a month. My retirement would have been 40% of that $7,500, which would have gave me a check of $3,000 a month. Right? Now, you take a look at how much money would you need to have in an investment that yields you $3,000 a month. That's really what I walked away from. A couple of $100,000, probably $600,000-700,000, right, over a lifetime, right? My leg tells me at that point, my leg goes, hey man, you gonna be a pansy? You gonna stay? You just gonna take that? You're gonna give him 70 more years of your life because you too scared to go for it? He's like, man, you'll make millions here. What change? All this stuff. So at that point, I have a decision to make. Understand, if I don't make that decision at that point, no one here is here. You have the same decision that you're going to make at some point. You follow me on that? And I decided, listen to this, I decided to believe in the dream. See, why do we put these fast off school together? You got to fall back in love with your dream. Because a lot of us, we cuddled up every night with our fears. Oh my God, oh. And 98% of the stuff that you worry about never freaking happens. But you still sit there worried about it, right? So I look at that and I go, at that time, when I made that decision to move over, to come over to WFG full time, all my buddies that were over here said, hey man, you're freaking crazy. And I was brainwashed so much over here that I was like, man, because I saw the picture, I said, man, you're crazy to stay in. They told me I was crazy to get out. I told them this crazy to stay in. Right? Fast forward 20 years later. My buddies are now retiring. They're retiring. Our lives are completely different. Not just financially, but mentally. Completely different. I had dinner with one of my cousins. He came in from New York, right? And literally the entire time I was with him, you know what was very hard for me? It was as if he was the same exact individual that I knew 30 years ago. Like nothing changed. His belief, his conversation. I was like, oh my God. He's just an older version of that guy. Isn't that crazy? So I want you to harness the person that you're becoming. See, your personal improvement, stop focusing so much on your flaws. Stop focusing so much on your imperfections. Stop focusing so much on your doubts. It's part of the journey. See, the person you are right now is going to meet the person that makes $100,000. The person that makes $100,000 is going to meet the person that makes $250,000. The person that makes $250,000 is going to meet the person that makes $500,000. And you're going to look back, you're going to go, wow, I remember that person, their challenges and all of that stuff, but you got to continue to believe, right? So you take a look at it, now let's say you're CEO with 6 direct S&Ds, your million-point-based shop, kind of like what Jay Jr. is doing right now, right? He's not even 30 years old, right? 6 S&Ds, 50,000 points, keep building a million-point-based shop, build 50,000 points, a million points a year, $1 million a year cash flow, right? You get a chance to travel the world. I was looking at this the other day, and I was looking since 1999. I've averaged personally 4 to 6 trips a year. Like literally every 6 weeks, I go, God, I feel like you should be going somewhere. You follow me on that? You don't have to ask any. I remember when I used to have to ask permission. Can you imagine that? I wouldn't have to ask. In the military, you had to put a leave. You had to put a leave in earning. I forgot what they called it, right? Like, what was it? What was it? You called it, girl. But I forgot what it is. You have to request permission to have like 3-4 days off or 5 days off. Leave check. There you go. There you go. It was a leave. Check it out. A leave check. Right? Leave check. Right? Right? But I remember one time my mother was sick. I was stationed in Quantico, Virginia. Right? And my mother was sick, and I put in a leave check. Leave check. I put it in. I put it in for 4 days. They came back and they denied it. They denied it because they said, oh, we need you here, right? And see, you get to a point as an entrepreneur, you go, you know what, you guys, you start to really understand the value of your time. You can never get time back. What is that worth to you? You follow me? What is that worth to you? It's worth a lot, right? The experiences that you had, right? Now, why do we do these contests? Stand up if you qualify for the contest for Mexico. Oh wow! So we can take you out there, right? Live the dream yourself. That's why we do these contests. If you live the requirements, break down the requirements and compete for that, right? You want to make sure that you're qualifying for those things. We're going to have a blast out there. Spring Sizzler, June 8, 2019. We're bringing the entire team together. So it's going to be awesome. You want to make sure that you buy your tickets for that. Our breakout meetings, Slavin already got all that handled. Make sure you mobilize it. Now listen to me on this, you guys. This is your shot at the big time. This is your shot. I want you to listen to this. And, you know, growing up in the inner city of New York, right? There used to be, New York has this edge, right? And I used to hear growing up, man, if you could make it here, you can make it anywhere. Because New York is that kind of vibe, right? It's intense. Like, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere, right? I didn't realize what that meant till I got out of New York. When I got out of New York, I was like, wow, most people are like soft, like they're mentally soft, right? Because New York's is intense, right? You know, like, I went to Virginia, everybody's smiling at each other. Hey, good morning, how you doing? How's your day? That crap don't get along in New York. New York, you look at somebody, what the hell are you looking at? You're always on there, nothing. You smile at somebody, what the hell are you smiling at? Right? So it's that kind of intense environment, so you're always on, right? You know what I learned about WFG the last 20 years? If you can't make it in WFG, you guys, you can't make it nowhere. You follow me? Let me tell you why. Because our environment is so pure. It's such our culture. Like, if you can't make it here, like, give you something simple, right? You fail your test here. Like, we practice. Oh my God, we believe in you, blah, 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 blah. Where else does that happen? You follow me? You heard Denise. She's like, oh my God, I get, like, the sprint award. Boom. We find reason to recognize you. Right? You got great leadership. You got great companies. You got great system. Our leaders go out of their way to put events like this together for you, to encourage you, to praise you. Where else are you going to get that kind of environment? Right? Backed by a $543 billion company. Right? See, this new era right now, there used to be a time, in the old era, this was like a $3-4 million a year opportunity. Like, if you take a look at Primerica Financial Services, they've been around way longer than us. I think they were like 40 years now, right? You know what their highest earner there is? You guys know?
No.
Their highest earner there makes $3.5 million a year. That opportunity is cash out at $3.5 million. Do you realize WFG now, $3 million a year is not a big deal anymore? We got $4 million earners, $5 million earners, $6 million earners. We got someone at $17 million. This has now become $1 million a month opportunity. We have tons of people. So to sit there and to think small about, hey, you know, I just want a part-time, blah, 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 all this stuff. You're sitting in one of the best opportunities in the world, right? And so you gotta understand, hey, this is the best thing that's out there. For the average person out there that's looking for an opportunity, and also for the business owners that are looking to spend a couple of $100,000 to buy a business. So the question becomes for you, how could you lose? How could you lose? If you push all your chips in and you went, I'm going for it, right? And obviously, get with your mentor, get with your leader, right? Get with your leader, say, hey, I want to go all in. I want by this time next year, or by this time next month, I want to be able to leave my job and go all in, right? Let me ask you a question. If you gave it everything you got, like everything you got, Where could you possibly be in a year? Where could you possibly be in 5 years? Where you could possibly be in 10 years? Now, what if you don't give it all? You know one of the number one things people as they get older, you know one of the number one things that they talk about? They talk about the opportunities that they had in life. The opportunities that they had in life that they didn't have the guts to go for. They talk about their regrets. See, discipline, you know, you making your phone calls prospect, that's discipline stuff, right? Discipline weighs ounces, but regret weighs tons. You understand that? You don't want to be 10, 15, 20 years from now, you don't want to be sitting there going, man, what if I would have bought into recruiting? What if I would have bought into a big base shop? What if I would have did this? What if I would have went all that stuff? What if I would have conquered my fear? Right? Most of you in here are conquering fears. I was watching Tate up here speaking, right? You know, Tate's big old dude, football player, all this stuff. One of his biggest fears was public speaking. I'm sitting there watching him. I was like, damn, isn't he freaking awesome up here? Just like, he starts Denise, you see, you guys, you're growing so much, but you're paying too much attention to all the stuff that's not going good. You follow me? What I'm saying is shift your focus. The way you gain momentum is you shift your focus to the things that are going great in your life instead of focus on the things that are not going great. Thank you guys, I appreciate it.